اللهم إنا نسألك العلم لدني ومشرب السوفي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. Alright, Alhamdulillah. We're continuing with our fiqh. So the last lesson we were at Bismillah. Get my book. Allah. Okay. So the last lesson, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We finished the integrals of the prayer. Correct? We finished the integrals of the prayer at the part of in sujud, remaining motionless in sujud, sitting between the two sujuds and remaining motionless in the sujud, and then the tashahhud. Do you finish up the entire thing? To the end of the prayer, sitting in the tashahhud, saying salawat to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the salams, and to follow the sequence in the in what we have gone through from earlier before. We have done that, right? We went through the integrals of the prayer, and then also the sunnahs before performing the prayer. Did we also do that? And can someone remind us? Did we also do that? That's the sunnahs of performing before going into the prayer. Did I go through all of them? So there's entire write-up here of a description of the prayer from the beginning to the end, right? And how it should be performed with all the sunnahs. Right, so has it been done? Did I do this part? Yes, done. Okay, so with the sunnahs as well, the last part, the niyyah, and the 3 levels of niyyah. Did I do that? Because my mark is all the way behind, so I don't know where I stopped. My mark didn't follow the lesson. I didn't do the niyats. Okay. Alright, so going backwards. So here lah. So we're exactly here. Section the 3 degrees of intention. Okay, tamam. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So section, and this one I went through earlier before when I spoke about the intentions. I spoke about the 3 degrees, the 3 levels of intentions with regards to whether your prayer is compulsory, whether it's a sunnah prayer, or whether it is a whether the sunnah prayer with a name or sunnah prayer with no name. Right, there's a difference in the niyat or in the intentions that you will make for such a prayer. So it says here, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, section, there are 3 degrees of intention. The first one is that if the prayer is compulsory, it's a fard prayer, it's a compulsory prayer, then it is compulsory to intend 3 things. The first, the act of praying itself, to say usalli, right, to say usalli, it is compulsory, or to say I am praying. So in whatever language you want, as mentioned, when it comes to intentions, you can go any language, right? Whatever language you want, you can just use that language. Okay, so the first one, to intend the prayer, so you can say usalli, usalli, right? Or you can say I am praying. Okay, usalli or I am praying. And then to mention the name of the prayer, whether it's Zuhur or Asr, and to mention that the prayer is a fard prayer. So you say usalli farda, usalli farda, and then you can say Zuhri. Farda Zuhri, or farda Asri, أو فرض مغربي أو فرض العشاء أو فرض الصبح. If you don't want to say in Arabic, you can say in English, I am praying I am praying fardu zuhur, for example. Okay, these 3 things is compulsory for you to say as you are performing your takbiratul ihram. Right, so when is it compulsory? It's compulsory at the point when your tongue is saying Allahu Akbar, your heart must be saying I am praying fardu zuhur. Okay? Right, so when is it compulsory? Right, when performing, when saying. Okay, when saying takbiratul ihram. Okay, so when you do the first takbir, your heart, so let me put it here, and this into this one, the niyat is in the heart. We mentioned before that intentions are in the heart, not on the tongue. It's sunnah to say it before you begin to pray. But the wajib is when you're actually beginning to pray. When you say Allahu Akbar and you've begun to pray, that is the wajib. Right? So when your tongue says Allahu Akbar, your heart must say, I am praying fardu zuhur. Or you say usalli fardu zuhri, in your heart. All the other things that usually will say, like say raka'atin or arba'a raka'atin, or we say ada'an lillahi ta'ala, all of that is sunnah to say. So if you can say it all, then say it all. If you find it's too difficult, it's too much to think about, I'm trying to say Allahu Akbar, at the same time trying to make my heart say I am praying zuhur, it's too complicated. If you think it's too complicated, you can just say I am praying for the zuhur. So without having to say 4 raka'ats, so it's understood. Zuhur is 4 raka'ats. Right now I'm doing it right now. Right, adaan I'm doing it right now. Okay, because it was qada'an. Allah knows, and Allah will write it down as a qada. If it's a qada, so Allah knows. Subhanallah. So this 3 is compulsory. If you can do more, it is sunnah. So if you can say usalli farda zuhri arba'a raka'atin ada'an lillahi ta'ala, to make it long. And the whole time on your tongue you're going Allahu Akbar, as you extend it for your intention to enter with the takbir. Okay, inshallah it's not hard. So people who keep saying, oh, I can't get the niyat in when I'm doing takbir, I can't get the niyat in when I'm doing takbir, they're actually I would say they are being bothered with waswasa. They're being bothered with a lot of whispers. It's actually not hard. Just say Allahu Akbar usalli fardu zuhri. Then you're done. Okay, that's all. There's nothing. It's not complicated. Inshallah, not complicated. Right, you can do it. Inshallah. If the salat is a periodic sunnah, like a rawatib, it means before and after the prayer, or has a specific reason for it. For example, duha, right? Surat duha, you have salat. Allahumma sayyidina Muhammad, witr. Right, you have all these specific niyas or hajat, istikhara, istisqa, all these are tawbah, all these are specific niyats. Then for the sunnah to count, there are 2 things that is compulsory. You must say the act of praying itself, then you must say the name of the sunnah. Right, so for example, if I'm praying sunnah duha, I must say usalli الضحى. أصلي الضحى. If you want to say sunnah al-duha, also can. أصلي sunnah al-duha, the sunnah of duha. It is counted, but it's not compulsory for you to say sunnah, because it's understood duha is sunnah. If you say أصلي الظهري, and you do not say sunnah or fard, automatically it means sunnah. So if I say usalli dhuhri, I am praying dhuhr, you don't say the word fard, because saying fard means it's fard. If you don't say fard, then automatically it means you're praying sunnah zuhur. You're not praying zuhur, you're praying sunnah zuhur. So if you pray all 4 rak'ats, have you prayed zuhur? No, because your intention was I am praying zuhur. No, you must say I am praying fardu zuhur. Remember this one we mentioned? The word fardu is important. Fardu zuhur is important. So without the word fard, it becomes a sunnah. So you say usalli, you say I am praying asar, and you didn't say anything about fard, you didn't say it was fard, automatically it takes the meaning that it is sunnah. Okay, you're praying the sunnah of asar, not praying asar itself. Okay, alright. So for prayers, they have a name for them, a specific sunnah prayers. Then you should name the prayers. Okay. However, if it's a sunnah that is mutlaq nafil, okay, mutlaq nafil, what does it mean? Right, some people they ask the question, how do I pray sunnah mutlaq? Mutlaq is an Arabic word that means unconditional. That's the meaning of mutlaq. Right, so in Arabic, mutlaq, let me just use the word, bring it out. Okay, mutlaq Mutlaq means unconditional. Mutlaq means unconditional. Right? So it just means a random sunnah. You want to say in very, very layman terms, it's a random sunnah. There's no name for it. There's no reason why you're doing it. It's just that you want to pray. That's all. You just want to pray. Right? So if you are at home or you're in a masjid and you're waiting for someone to come, right? And you're waiting for you already prayed Zuhur. You have prayed all 4 Qabliyah Zuhur. You have prayed all 4 Ba'diyah Zuhur. Right? You already finished praying your hajat or your istikhara, and then you're still having a lot of time. And whoever you're waiting for has not come. You prayed all that you want to pray. Then you're thinking to yourself, what else should I pray? Should I pray? You're thinking to yourself, right? So you say to yourself, you know what? I just want to pray. Just pray 2 rak'ats. Okay, that kind of prayer is called sunnah mutlaq. It's just I want to pray. That's all. What prayer are you doing? There's no name to my prayer. It's just called a prayer. I'm just praying. That's what I'm doing. I'm just praying. As the one who loves to pray. Right? So for that kind of prayer, right, there's only one thing to say when you want to pray. So as you stand for prayer and you're going to do Allahu Akbar, in your heart, all you have to say is Usalli. That's all. Usalli. I am praying. Dah. Because your prayer has no name. It's not a name. It's not a named prayer. It's just I am praying. Dah. So you say Allah, and in your heart, I am praying Lillahi Ta'ala, for Allah. Allahu Akbar. Then dah. Then you pray. You can pray 2 rak'ahs, you can pray 4, you can pray 6, you can pray 10, you can pray how many you want to pray. Right? People of the past, they used to pray 200 rak'ahs in one go. 200 rak'ahs, mashallah. Right? So it's up to you. So mutlaq is not a name of a sunnah. Sunnah mutlaq is not a name of a sunnah. It is just an unconditional sunnah. There is no name for it. Right? It's just that you want to pray. That's all you want to do. So all you have to say is I am praying. Let me just bring this up. Okay. I clear the drawings. Okay. I am praying. That's all. I am praying. So the act of the prayer, there is enough for your intention. So all you're gonna niyat is, and put it down here. So let me put down all 3 in a table form. Okay. So first one is fardu prayer. Yeah. Fard. Second one is named sunnah. The last one is unconditional sunnah. Okay, right? On this side, I'm gonna put what to say. What must be said. Okay, all right. So the first one is the word usalli. Usalli, or I pray. I am praying. Okay. Fard, you must say it. The name sunnah, you must say it. Unconditional sunnah, you must say it. All 3 of them, you must say usalli. I am praying. Okay. Must I say the word fard? Or fard. Must I say fard? Okay, if it's a fard prayer, yes, you must say it. Sunnah, no need. Unconditional sunnah, no need. So you don't have to say sunnah. I don't have to say anything at all. Okay. To say the name of the prayer. Okay, the name of the prayer, for example, Zuhur or Asar or Maghrib. Yes, for Fardu you must say it. For a name Sunnah, yes, because the name of Sunnah is known. So Duha or Witr or Qabliyat Zuhur, for example. Right? And Sunnah, there is no name for it anyway. So there is no saying of any name. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So for fardu prayers, 3 things must be said. For a named sunnah, 2 things. For an unconditional sunnah, only 1 thing that must be said. Okay. Alright. Alright, so continuing. It is sufficient for a person to make intention to offer the fard prayer of zuhur. To offer the fard prayer of zuhur. Those sunnah prayers performed earlier, before or after the 5 fard prayer are called rawatib. So rawatib is before or after the 5 fard prayer. And we know the rawatibs are before subuh 2. So before subuh 2. Before zuhur 4. But 2 is mu'akkadah. 2 mu'akkadah, 4 altogether. After zuhur 2 is mu'akkadah, 2 is emphasized, 4 altogether. It will come later on in the book again. It will come again. Right. Maghrib 2 after. Maghrib sunnah 2 after. Isha sunnah 2 after. Right. But before there are also other sunnahs if you want to do it. But the mu'akkadah will be the ones that is after. Okay. Like the prayer of Eid al-Fitri or Salat Istisqa, asking for rain, right? It is sufficient that a person makes an intention to offer the prayer of Eid al-Fitri or Salat Istisqa. Let's say I am praying Eid al-Fitri without saying sunnah. You don't have to say sunnah at all. Right? So those sunnah prayers, they have no time or cause. It's called mutlaq. So mutlaq means no time or cause. The person performs them when he wants extra rewards. So it's enough to just say usolli. That's all. Usolli. Okay. Alright, going to the next part of our book. Are there any questions? Okay, for qada prayers, the question here, for qada prayers, do we say usolli zuhur or do we say usolli qada zuhur? You say usolli fardu zuhur. You must say usolli farda zuhri. Usolli farda zuhri. Because qada is fard. Qada is wajib. It's wajib to qada. So all wajib prayers, you must say the word fard. You must say the word fard. Right, so for example, if you're doing a qada of zuhur, regardless of when you are doing this qada, whether you are doing it in the morning, or whether you're doing it at zuhur, or whether you're doing it at night, you're doing a qada of zuhur, right? Regardless of when you are doing it, it will automatically be a qada if you have already done your zuhur. So for example, if you're going to your qada at 2 o'clock p.m., right? So you stand and you want to pray, you say, I am intending usalli fard al-zuhri. I am intending to pray the fardu of zuhur. If you already prayed zuhur earlier on at 1:30, for example, you prayed zuhur at 1:30 earlier on, and you're praying zuhur again fardu, this second zuhur automatically becomes a qada. Automatically it falls the qada without you saying it, as long as you said fard. If you do not say fard, it will fall as a sunnah. Right? If you say usalli zuhri, straight away sunnah zuhur. It's not even a qada, it's a sunnah. Okay? If you pray zuhur outside of the time of zuhur, for example during asar or maghrib time, you say usalli farda zuhri, but it's maghrib, automatically it's qada. Automatically it becomes a qada, and it will count as a qada for you. Okay? Alright. Okay, alhamdulillah. Any more questions? No other questions. Okay, there are no other questions. Any questions up? No questions. Okay. Okay, there are no questions. We go on to the next part of the book. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Faslun shurutu takbirat al-ihram 16. The conditions of takbirat al-ihram are 16. What are they? To pronounce the Allahu Akbar, there are 16 conditions. But it's not hard. As long as you say Allahu Akbar, you have fulfilled the conditions. The first one, to say it while you are standing in prayer. Right? So a person who is not standing, someone who is seated, right? They're on the way to getting up. They cannot begin their takbir until their back is straight. The back must be straight first. That means you must be standing up straight first. Then you can say Allahu Akbar. Every letter must be said while you are standing. You can't be moving around or walking or running or or getting up or whatever. So for older people who pray sitting down, they must get the first takbir standing up. Right, so if their knees are very weak, but they can still stand up, but their knees are very weak, they need to get up first with help of other people. Allahu Akbar, come into the prayer. Then when they really cannot support their own weight, then they sit. And they sit on the chair. If they cannot support standing up for so long, and then they can sit on the chair. But otherwise they are to stand. They are supposed to stand and not sit. Okay. Alright. The EB in Arabic. So you cannot say in English or in Malay. You can go like Allah is the greatest. Like, cannot. It has to be Allahu Akbar. And the word has to be Allah. It cannot be any one of Allah's names or Rabb or whatever. You cannot say Ar-Rahmanu Akbar. You can't do that. Right? Or you cannot say, Rabbi Akbar. Rabbi Akbar. No, you say Allah. It has to be the word Allah. Allahu Akbar. And that is correct. It has to be the word Akbar. It cannot be like Allahu Arham, Allahu Altaf, Allahu A'azam. You can't say any of that. It has to be Akbar. The correct word, Akbar. The sequence between these two words must be continuous. So you cannot say Allah Akbar. You cannot do it that way also. So you can't have a pause. There has to be a sequence. That means the sequence means Allah first and then Akbar. Allah first and then Akbar. So you cannot say Akbar huwa Allah. Akbar huwa Allah. You cannot flip the words. It has to be in correct order. Allah huwa Allahu Akbar. Tamam? In this sequence. You cannot extend the of Allah, the Hamza of Allah. So you cannot say Allahu Akbar. Haram to do that. You can't go Allah. You can't do that. Because saying Allah is a question. It becomes a question in the Arabic language. So it means, is Allah the greatest? It's like a question. No, you are declaring Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. MashaAllah. Not to lengthen the ba of the Akbar. So you don't, especially for people who are trying to get their niyats in, to get their intentions in. You don't say Allahu Akbar. You don't do that, okay? Don't extend the ba. There is no alif after the ba. So you cannot anyhow put an alif there and say Allahu Akbar. That is wrong. That is wrong and that is not valid as a takbiratul ihram. Okay. Number 8, do not put a shadda on the ba. Don't double letter of ba. It means don't put a shadda on ba. So don't go Allahu Akbar. You put a shadda on the ba. I don't know how to pronounce it, but how you pronounce it? Akbar. Right? To shadda the ba. It's not possible, right? It's hard to do that. Right? But if someone does that, Allahu Akbar, in that way, not valid. The takbir is not valid. To not add a waw sakin al mutaharrik. And not to add a waw in between these two words. So like for example, in the footnote at the bottom, right, to say Allahu is Allahu Akbar. Some people say it as Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Don't put a wow there. There's no wow there. Right? So instead of saying Allahu Akbar, they say Allahu Akbar. There is no wow. So it's not like, this is how they will say. They will say Allahu Wa. They put a Y at the end. Allahu Akbar. There's an extra wa there. Right? Wrong. There's no wa. Okay, there's no wa there. Right? So they will say as that it is Allahu Wak. Wrong. Allahu Akbar. The Y is wrong. And you will see it in your book at the bottom. At the bottom, it is there. Do not say Allahu Akbar. Okay. Not a long pause. Not a pause for a long or short while between the two words. So you cannot pause between the word Allah and the word Akbar. So you cannot say Allah Akbar. You cannot do that. Like, you cannot have like a pause, take a breath. Okay, so tired. Allahu Akbar. You cannot do that. You have to continuously recite the word Allahu Akbar. To hear yourself reciting every single letter of a takbir, you must be able to hear yourself. So you go Allahu Akbar. Right? So just softly, but you can hear every letter in your own ears. To hear oneself uttering the entire letters, that is number 12. Okay. Number 13. Entrance of the prayer time. Right? So you cannot do your takbir before the prayer time that you're going to pray. Right? So you're going to pray Zuhur. Zuhur is at 1:13. Right? Can you at 1:10? Okay, I just do my takbir now lah. Right? Then later on, when by the time I get into my prayer, I already read Surah Fatiha and I can finish earlier. No, the entire prayer from the first takbir to the last salams should be in the prayer time. So after azan, now I want to Allah. You can do that without any fault or any blame. Alright. Number 14. To say the takbir when you are facing the qibla, because you're going to enter into the salat with the qibla. So you don't like be facing somewhere else or facing here, facing there, because the takbir is part of the prayer. Part of the prayer means your chest must be towards the qibla. It's not possible for your chest to be facing any other way. Right? So it's part of the prayer, the takbir. So you say Allahu Akbar, your chest towards the qibla, not turning anywhere else, not like Allah and then Allahu Akbar and you come. Okay, so don't change, don't face anywhere else except the qibla. Number 15, do not change even a single letter in the takbir. So don't go don't go Allahu Akbar. Just change the kaf to a kaf. Or you say Allahu Akbar. Since the Hamza become an Ain. Allahu Akbar. Not changing all the letters of the words. Not permissible. Haram, in fact. Haram. Okay, number 16. To delay the takbir of the ma'mum till the imam has finished. So when you hear the imam say the ra of Akbar, you hear him say that, straight away on your side you go Allah. Right, so where the imam, so let me just draw the imam. So where the imams, this is the imam, he's praying, right, and the imam says Allah. Allahu Akbar. I have the ra at the end. The ma'mum who is praying behind the imam, the ma'mum. Right, the ma'mum is praying the imam. At the ra of the imam, the ma'mum now says, the ra of the imam, now the ma'mum will say Allahu Akbar. Okay? So when the imam has finished saying his takbir, then the ma'mum says it is sunnah for the ma'mum to always wait for the imam to finish before the ma'mum starts. It's sunnah for the ma'mum to wait for the imam to finish first before the ma'mum does anything. So when it comes to ruku, when it comes to sujood, when it comes to all these things, it is sunnah for the ma'mum to wait for the imam first. Imam finish it, then the ma'mum does it. Okay. Alright. Number 16. To delay a takbir. Okay, now we have done it already. Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, any questions? So here all understood, So that one can hear oneself given a normal human being. So what's the meaning of hearing yourself? The meaning of hearing yourself are on these conditions. And one can hear himself. Right, first condition is that you have normal hearing. That means you're not deaf yourself. You have normal hearing. Right? Number 2, it's not noisy around you. So someone says, I'm trying to pray, but it's so noisy in this house, so I pray shouting because I need to hear myself. You say, no. What we mean by you need to hear yourself is that in normal circumstances, would you be able to hear yourself? So yes, if I was praying in a quiet room, I would be able to hear myself. then they say, okay, then that is counted, it's enough. You don't have to shout, you don't have to shout out the niyat, right? You don't have to shout out your Fatiha, right? Because you can already hear yourself. Technically there's no noise around, right? There's no need to raise one's voice if there is a lot of noise. You don't have to raise your voice if there is a lot of noise. Okay. Okay, the makhraj of the prayers must be correct, but if the sifat is lacking a little bit, right, then that is okay. Right, as long as there is no change in letters, right, as you pronounce it. So when you say like, for example, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, it's enough. Right? They have to be so obsessed about it, because it opens up the doors for waswasa, the doors for being whispered to. Alright. Okay, the conditions of Surah Fatiha. We're going to go to the next part. The conditions of Surah Fatiha. So the first one is, there are 10 conditions of Surah Fatiha. The first one is sequence. You must recite Surah Fatiha in sequence. Number 2, continuity. That means you don't break in between Surah Fatiha. Once you start Surah Fatiha in your prayer, you must finish Surah Fatiha. You cannot like Maliki Yawmiddin, then you stop. Then you daydream for a while because you're in prayer. You daydream, look here, look there. And oh yeah, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You can't do that. You can't take a stop or a breath, to go and do something else and then come back. Now you need to recite Surah Fatiha all together at once. Okay. Number 3, to perfect pronunciation of the letters in Surah Fatiha. So looking at Surah Fatiha, the letter dot is there. وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. The word dot is there. The word ain, the letter ain is there. So for example, al-alamin, rabbil alamin. Ain is there. Ha is also there. So to say ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ha is also there as a mashallah, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Right, so the ha is there. So don't say ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That's wrong. So don't say alamin. Say alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay. So let me put some of the letters down. Okay, so just take note of Dod. Okay. There is no Dha in Fatiha. Okay, there is no Dha in Surah Fatiha. So don't accidentally pronounce Dha when you try to pronounce Dot. So some people say Walal Dha, Walal Dhalin are wrong. It's not a Dha, it's a Dot. Walal Dhalin. Okay. Then we have Ain. Right, the common mistake here will be people will replace Ain with Hamza. Okay, so instead of saying Alamin, they say Alamin. Wrong. Okay. Next one is the Ha. Okay, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. That is a Ha. And so the problem here is people pronounce it as a Ha. Say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. There is the mistakes in pronunciation. And also one more mistake in pronunciation. The, right? The. So it's common in our society. People saying the, right? So instead of saying the, they say zai. It's different. Okay, it's different. Okay, another one is sod. Okay, sod. People tend to pronounce it as sin. Just be careful about these letters, inshallah. To perfect the tashdeeds, the shaddas in the Fatiha. Remember the if I were to share with you all the Quran. Okay, here's the Quran. Here. Okay. So if you look at the Quran, in Surah Fatiha, right? So to take note, where are all the shaddas? Alright, so I think you've done this before, but I'll just do it again. Okay, so all the shaddas are where? There is the word Allah, the Rahman, right? Allah, Rabb, Rahman, Lazi, Iyaka. Okay? Ballin. Alright? Especially last part, like people are rushing to finish the Fatiha, they'll go, Walal Dallin. They're not long enough. Walal Dallin. No shadda. Walal Dallin. Like that, okay? Amin. Okay, we'll finish our conditions of Fatiha first, then we'll take a break, inshallah. Okay, right. So not to pause for too long or too short between with the intention of terminating the recitation. That's important. Do not pause your recitation if you are intending to terminate. If the moment you intend, you have already nullified your recitation. With reading all the verse, including the basmala, never to commit a mistake that alters the meaning of the words, because the Bismillah Rahman Rahim is part of Surah Fatiha. To hear your own recitation, mashallah. Right, the Fatiha is not interrupted if someone says Amin when the Imam says Amin, because of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said that when the Imam says Amin, you say Amin, because the angels say Amin, and whoever's Amin, it coincides with the Imam, then their sins will be forgiven. Okay. Alright. Okay, so inshallah now we'll take a short break, right? Maybe a 2 minutes break. Then we'll continue after fiqh after this. Barakallahu fikum.